Hey, Johnny DC here at the top of the episode, just to give all of you listeners a big thank you for listening and for nominating us in the 2019 Colorado Podcast Awards. We were nominated in all the categories we were eligible for, including Best Indie Podcast, Best Co-Hosts, and Best Colorado Podcast. The award ceremony is December 3rd, and we'll keep you all up to date as to whether we win or not, but again, thanks to everyone who nominated us. If by any chance you happen to be involved with the Colorado Podcast in 2019, hit us up because you're eligible to vote for the nominees. On with the show.
Hi, welcome to the Dynamic Duel podcast, a weekly show where we review superhero films and debate the superiority between Marvel and DC by comparing their characters in stat-based battle simulations. I'm Marvelous Joe.
And I'm his twin brother, Johnny DC.
And in this episode, we are going to learn who would win in a fight between DC's angelic character, Zauriel.
He's not angelic, he's a straight-up angel.
What the fuck ever. And Marvel's angelic character, Archangel. He also goes by Angel, but we're going to call him Archangel just because it's a cooler name. And there have been other characters on the X-Men who have been named Angel as well. So this is to differentiate them. There's only been one Archangel. And we're doing this matchup because it's almost Christmas time. And we think that this is the duel to do for that. Even though that this episode is coming out before Thanksgiving, it's never too early to get into that holiday spirit, you guys.
Hark the herald angels sing, glory to Dynamic Duel.
We find out who would beat whom in this ultimate angel duel. You like that?
Not really.
Look forward to the duel after we discuss the latest comic book movie news, of which there is no Marvel news. There hasn't been Marvel news for a while now. Getting kind of bummed by that.
Yeah, seriously, Marvel, show up to the game.
Yeah, we should be getting a Black Widow trailer here soon within like the next couple of weeks, I would imagine. So until then, I guess we'll just be waiting. But anyway, we will be talking about how John Turturro has been cast as Carmine Falcone in Matt Reeves' Batman film. And we'll also be discussing the pretty exciting news that the JSA superhero team is going to appear in Dwayne Johnson's Black Adam movie. And that got a release date as well.
Yeah, as always, our segment times are in our episode description. So feel free to take a look at that if you want to jump around to whatever topic strikes your fancy.
Remember, guys, that this is your last chance to go on social media and post a link to your favorite episode of this podcast and tag us in that post. Once we see that tag, we'll put your name into a drawing where the winner wins the 90s 4-issue Marvel vs. DC run. Jonathan and I will ship that out to the winner. Those comic books are all bagged and boarded and ready to go. We are doing the drawing and announcing the winner on Thanksgiving Day.
This week.
So in a couple of days. So again, your last chance.
Yeah, there's like less than 20 entrants. There's not too many, so you still have a chance of winning. So again, post a link to your favorite episode of our show and tag us in it. That's all you have to do.
Yeah, and if you're doing it on Facebook, sometimes Facebook lets you tag our page in it, and sometimes it doesn't. If it doesn't, be sure to message us. Also, be sure that your post is publicly viewable. Otherwise, Jonathan and I won't be able to see it. Alrighty, guys? All right.
A quick heads up to our patrons, we have a special blooper episode coming out on December 1st for you, as well as our personal custom duel results for those in our higher tiers. If you're not currently a patron, you could sign up at patreon.com/dynamicduel. Stay tuned to the end of this episode where you'll get a sneak peek of this month's blooper reel.
Quick shout out to Ja7665431, Superhero Frank, and Muffinstuffin63, who left us reviews on Apple Podcasts.
Yeah, we're at 173 ratings right now. It's a huge jump from last week. Thank you so much, guys.
We only need 27 more to go. That is not that much. We are so close to our goal of 200.
Can we do it before the end of the year?
I mean, that's up to you guys, right? If you guys could get us to 200, that would be amazing. As you guys know, we're trying to get to 200 ratings on iTunes because at that point, Rotten Tomatoes says we're eligible to become critics on their platform and have our reviews of these Marvel and DC films count toward their official tomato meters.
You guys are tired of hearing about it. We're tired of talking about it. Quick to the no prize. So a No Prize is an award that Marvel used to give out up until the 90s to fans. Our version, the Dynamic Duel No Prize, is a digital award that we post on social media that I personally draw for those who we feel gave the best answer to our question of the week. Last week's question was, what would a sequel to The Joker be about, and would it tie into a larger DC universe? We got some fantastic answers, and I'm actually really excited about the concept pitched by the winners of this week's No Prize.
Right, but prior to announcing the winner, we would like to give honorable mention to Jeremy Orr, who said that the Joker sequel should be based off the Mad Love storyline with him and Harley Quinn, in the vein of Natural Born Killers. I think that would be pretty interesting. Of course, we already have a live-action Harley Quinn, so you'd probably have to recast that role to be Joaquin Phoenix's Harley Quinn, but that'd be cool to see.
Neil Poling on Twitter also mentioned that a Joker film with Dr. Quinzel would be fantastic, and it would have flashbacks to like all of the escapades that landed him in Arkham.
Hannah Hotel 17 from Instagram said that Joker should find a rival in the man that killed Bruce's parents for Gotham's devotion. And it's kind of like a Joker versus Joe Chill movie, which I think would be pretty interesting.
Well, that is interesting. Jacob Bell said that he is against a Joker sequel because it's pointless. I was sort of on that ship until we started getting some really good answers.
I do think that a sequel kind of devalues the artistic merit of the first Joker film.
Oh, absolutely.
But, you know, money talks and fans want what they want. Jeff Miles Jr. didn't give specifics on a sequel, but said that the Joker could be an R-rated standalone trilogy, much like the Blade films, and in the final one, he could go up against Batman.
I wouldn't be surprised if Warner Brothers wants that as well, honestly. CJ Kraft said that he wanted to see a film where the Joker was depicted like a Charles Manson cult-like leader in Arkham who starts a riot that is ended at the end of the film by Batman. Sort of an introduction to the Batman character.
Yeah, but like you don't necessarily have to show him. You could leave him like really mysterious and shadowy. That'd be cool. Honorable mention goes to Calvin John Della Merced, who said that a sequel should be like Lee Bermejo's take on the character, which is a full-on psychopath taking over Gotham.
Yeah, the comic that was done by Lee Bermejo and Brian Azzarello was done sort of around the same time that The Dark Knight came out, and it was a really good, realistic take on the Joker. It followed one of his henchmen, just like a day in the life of Joker.
Yeah.
It was actually really interesting.
That would be cool. I'd like to see Joaquin Phoenix's like escape from Arkham and then his systematic takeover of Gotham's underworld. Like he's building up his crime empire as Bruce Wayne is out there, you know, training to be Batman.
Yeah, kind of like a mob thriller like Goodfellas or something like that.
Or Scarface or something like that. Yeah.
Honorable mention also goes to Mike Luther, who said that the Joker should find his twin brother and start a podcast that pits Marvel against DC, bridging the gap between the DCEU and the MCU.
I mean, if it gives us a shared Marvel and DC film universe, then I'm willing to accept a ridiculous answer like that. But yeah, I mean, like what? There are 3 Jokers, right?
Oh, I don't even know if that comic storyline is coming out. Like, Jeff Johns has fallen off the face of the earth.
Really?
Pretty much.
Oh, jeez.
But anyway, the winners of this week's No Prize are Shannon Sanderson and Joel Seagrave, who both gave the answer of Arkham Asylum, which was a graphic novel written by Grant Morrison with artwork done by Dave McKean. And I think it would be a perfect sequel. It's essentially like one night in Arkham Asylum. The Joker takes over the asylum along with Batman's other rogues, and Batman has to go in there to save the doctors and staff from the inmates.
That would be a fantastic sequel, but you would have to have Batman in it.
You would. He would definitely need to be in it. But that doesn't necessarily mean he would be like the main character. I still see the Joker being the main character of this storyline.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'll have to check out that graphic novel. So congrats again to Shannon Sanderson, Joel Seagrave. You guys win this week's No Prize. Go ahead and stay tuned later on this episode if you, the listener, want to win your own No Prize, as we will be asking another question of the week. Now that that's done,
on to the news. Okay, so on Friday, Matt Reeves, the director of the upcoming Batman film, tweeted out that John Turturro will be playing Carmine Falcone in his Batman film. Now, John Turturro is a fantastic actor.
Yeah.
This is really good casting.
I like it a lot.
Of course, Carmine Falcone has been played by Tom Wilkinson before in the Batman Begins films, but I totally think John Turturro has the look of the Carmine Falcone character from the comics, or at least could pull it off.
Yeah, John Wilkinson was a little bit aged, I think, to be a convincing threat.
Yeah, he didn't strike me as, like, Italian mobster at all.
No. But John Turturro definitely does. He's a great character actor.
If you're not familiar with Turturro, he's been in roles in Transformers. He had, like, the worst part in that film. But he was also, like, in The Night Of. He was in Do the Right Thing and The Big Lebowski. That's probably, like, his most famous role was in The Big Lebowski. But honestly, to me, like the biggest surprise in this news is that Carmine Falcone is in the film at all.
It just further proves the theory that the story is being based off of The Long Halloween.
Right. I mean, we knew that a lot of villains were going to be in this film, but for some reason, despite everyone saying it was going to be based on The Long Halloween, Carmine Falcone's name never came up.
Right.
So this is fantastic news, I think.
Yeah, just one more villain for Batman to go up against. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be Batman against the world. It's almost like they're doing Sinister Six before Spider-Man gets a Sinister Six. Yeah.
Oh, it totally sounds like that.
Yeah.
Honestly, 2021 cannot come soon enough. That year is just going to be an amazing year for comic book films.
Yeah, because later on that year, we're going to get the Black Adam film. That's coming out in December.
Yeah, December 22nd. It's a Christmas release, so hopefully it'll draw people to see it during the holidays. The Rock is a pretty big draw. I'm sure it'll happen.
Yeah.
Seems like it's going to be a big action film. Also jam-packed with DC characters because The Rock confirmed in a recent interview that the JSA will be in Black Adam.
Yeah, that was a rumor that's been circling around for a few weeks, I think propagated by the Beyond the Trailer YouTube channel, but it was confirmed by The Rock this past week, which is amazing.
Yeah, him and Kevin Hart are currently doing interviews for Jumanji 2, and the interviewer asked The Rock about Black Adam, and Kevin Hart was like, yeah, man, am I going to get a role in that film? And The Rock was like, yeah, the JSA is going to be in this film, so I think one of them has like a pet animal or something. I love the way they rag on each other and just their banter. It's great.
It's fantastic.
Now, according to rumors, the two confirmed JSA characters are Hawkman and Stargirl, and that's it.
Really?
Like, the rest of the roster is kind of like still unknown.
Stargirl, for sure?
Yeah.
But she's getting her own DC Universe television show later on.
That's right.
Oh my god.
We also recently learned that TV show is also debuting on the CW, so you don't have to get a DC Universe subscription to watch it.
Interesting.
It's weird.
It is weird.
I don't know what's going on with Jeff Johns. He's not the showrunner for that show anymore. He was replaced.
Well, he created the character. He should be the showrunner.
I guess he can't cut it. But the character I'm most looking forward to is Hawkman. As you know, if you've listened to our Hawkman versus Wolverine episode, Hawkman's roots go all the way back to ancient Egypt. And of course, much farther back than that if you're reading the current Rebirth series. But apparently, his ancient Egyptian incarnation was a prince, Prince Khufu. And I guess he had ties to Black Adam in some way, Teth Adam. There's speculation that Black Adam blames Prince Khufu for the death of his family. And we'll see how that plays into like modern times as Prince Khufu is now Hawkman.
Right.
It makes sense. It makes sense to me, honestly. And if you're going to have a villain, lead the movie, why not have the antagonist be a superhero?
Yeah. I bet you they're going to have Dr. Fate in the movie, too. If we're talking about JSA characters, if we're talking about ancient Egypt.
That would be cool. I've always loved like the look of Dr. Fate. Just seeing him on the big screen would just make my fanboy heart explode. I think it would put all the Doctor Strange fans to shame. Excuse me? Oh, you heard me.
We're coming out with the Multiverse of Madness.
Oh, yeah? We're coming out with Black Adam.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
I know.
We all know which title's better.
Yeah.
But speaking of Hawkman, that brings us to our question of the week.
Who would you cast as Hawkman in 2021's Black Adam film? Post your answer to our Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, or email us at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com. We'll pick our favorite answer and draw that person a Dynamic Duel No Prize that we'll post to social media.
But I think that does it for all the news for this episode, so let's go ahead and get into this week's main event, where we find out who would win in a fight between Zauriel and Archangel. All right, Zauriel versus Archangel. Now, as I mentioned before, we're pitting these two guys against each other because they're kind of the angelic characters of the respective universes, and we're saying that this is our big Christmas-related duel, or non-denominational related winter holiday themed duel.
That involves angels.
As you guys know, in our last episode, we pit the Titans against the X-Men. Archangel is one of my favorite X-Men characters, and I was kind of bummed out that I was not able to put him in that matchup in my team of 7. So this is one of my ways to compensate for that. We'll go ahead and get into his backstory. Can't wait to tell you all about him. And I can't wait to learn all about Zauriel.
Yeah, Zauriel isn't a big DC name character. He hasn't been in too many comic books, but there is a sizable fan base around him because he's just an awesome character.
Well, he was big in the JLA comics in the late 90s, early 2000s during Grant Morrison's run, right?
Yeah, Grant Morrison is the one who created Zauriel.
Yeah. The story goes that he wanted to put Hawkman on that JLA team, but the editors didn't want to let him use that character, so he invented his own winged superhero.
Yeah, he originally wanted to call the character Hawkman and just have him be an angel, but they wouldn't allow him to do that. A lot of people like to put Hawkman against Archangel, but since we've already pit him against Wolverine...
Which I thought was a great match.
Yeah, to me this is just as good of a match.
Yeah, definitely. So before we start discussing the characters, for those who don't know, the way we determine a winner in these duel matchups is through statistics. We take the statistics for each character among a variety of criteria that's laid out by the official Marvel Power Rankings grid.
And we incorporate a few more statistics just to make a more robust simulation.
Right. And we extrapolate the DC characters' stats from that criteria, and we randomize those numbers in a series of Monte Carlo simulations. Now, we do that 1,000 times, and what the Monte Carlo simulation does is it distributes those stat numbers along a normal distribution, which is a bell curve, and that represents the variables that take place in battle. Sometimes characters are depicted as stronger, and sometimes they're depicted as weaker. Characters have all kinds of varying feats within the comics, and this accounts for that mild inconsistency.
Right, so we compare the results of the 1,000 simulations against each other, which gives us a percentage of wins. Now, so far, no character has ever won 100% of the time. And if it's a good match with characters who are pretty equal to each other, the win rates will be close to 50-50.
Right, so the winner's not based off of fan votes. We don't consider uncharacteristic feats of strength. It's just stats. Now, before we run the simulations, we like to give a breakdown of each character's history and abilities, and then after that, we go into an improvised speculation on how we think one of the 1,000 matches will actually play out. But I think it's your turn to go first, so go ahead and teach us all about the DC angel, Zauriel.
Okay, so for billions of years, since God, also known as the Presence, first formed the DC universe, the guardian angel Zauriel served within the peacekeeping angelic host known as the Pax Dei. The Pax Dei was made up of 4 orders: the lion host, the bull host, the human host, and the eagle host, the latter of which Zauriel belonged.
Oh, and I'm guessing Grant Morrison wanted to make him part of the hawk host.
No, actually, the lion, bull, human, and eagle were all mentioned in like the Book of Revelations, so I think it was always the eagle host.
Oh, really? Okay, interesting.
Now, the eagle host was known for its keen senses and watchful gaze, and Zauriel gazed a bit too longingly at his charge on Earth, a woman named Shannon Chen, whom Zauriel fell in love with. He also overheard that Lord Asmodel, Angel King of the Bull Host and General of Heaven's Army, had partnered with the demon ruler of Hell, Neron, to overthrow the Presence. When Zauriel was granted an audience with his leader, Lord Hierophant, and the other lords of the Pax Dei to warn them, he confessed his love for Shannon and was immediately banished from heaven. Like a meteor, Zauriel crashed into the Pacific Ocean in a fiery blaze, where he met Martian Manhunter of the Justice League, whom you can learn more about in our Martian Manhunter vs. Vision Duel episode. Asmodel found out that Zauriel learned of his plan to conquer heaven and sent advance angel soldiers of the Bull Host to Earth to kill Zauriel, before he himself invaded San Francisco with his army when the Justice League intervened. Defeated, Asmodel left Earth and Zauriel went to Shannon, though just as Zauriel declared his love for her, the two were attacked as punishment for Asmodel's defeat by the demon Etrigan, whom you can learn more about in our Etrigan vs. Ghost Rider episode. After Zauriel convinced Etrigan that a union between heaven and hell was not in his best interest, Zauriel and Shannon fled to Los Angeles to escape Asmodel. Asmodel finally caught up with them, kidnapped Shannon, and gave her to Neron to bind in hell, just before Asmodel and Neron both stormed the gates of heaven with their armies. With the help of Shannon's boyfriend, a nurse named Jerry...
Wait, what? Shannon has a boyfriend?
Yes. Zauriel's vitals...
Zauriel knew this.
Yeah, he did.
Oh, wow.
With the help of Jerry, Zauriel's vitals were dropped to 0, effectively killing him and allowing him to take part in the Battle of Heaven, alongside Martian Manhunter, whom Asmodel had killed earlier. After successfully beating back the angelic host and storming Heaven's innermost throne room, Asmodel realized that the Presence was truly everywhere and in everything, and was incapable of being overthrown. Asmodel was stripped of his power and sent to Hell. Zauriel and Martian Manhunter were resuscitated back to life on Earth, and Euron released Shannon from Hell, returning her to Los Angeles as a punishment to Asmodel. Shannon decided to stay with her boyfriend Jerry, which Zauriel understood, and Zauriel accepted an invitation to join the Justice League. Asmodel eventually escaped Hell by binding himself to the hostless Spectre, whom you can learn more about in our Spectre vs. Galactus episode. With the Spectre's power, Asmodel was able to freeze Hell and cause mass destruction on Earth while fending off the combined might of all of Earth's heroes. After Asmodel turned Zauriel's wings to stone, Zauriel led a small group of heroes to Purgatory in an effort to find a replacement host for the Spectre. In Purgatory, Zauriel found the spirit of Hal Jordan, whom you can learn more about in our Green Lantern vs. Nova episode, and he brought Hal back to Earth. Hal's spirit proved to have a greater willpower than Asmodel's, which allowed Hal to replace the former Angel King as the Spectre's host, and Zauriel's wings were returned to normal. Zauriel remained as a core member of the Justice League up until the World War III event, when a planet-sized weapon of the old gods called Mageddon was released from its prison at the edge of the universe. As a weapon, Mageddon caused nearby sentient life to become irrationally aggressive and violent until all life was exhausted. Earth happened to be in the path of Mageddon's journey across the cosmos, and as it approached our solar system, Lex Luthor was influenced to form a new Injustice Gang to defeat the Justice League. As chaos erupted on Earth, Zauriel was willingly caught in an explosion caused by Lex Luthor that destroyed the Justice League's moon-based headquarters. Zauriel died, and found when he went to heaven that the angelic host had abandoned hope for Earth, and were already preparing designs for the planet's replacement, and denied Zauriel's request for aid. As Zauriel was about to return to Earth alone, however, numerous angels volunteered to leave heaven with him. They traveled to Earth and stood by the leaders of every nation to bring them calm and peace, countering the growing aggression Mageddon brought as he drew closer to Earth. The Justice League defeated Mageddon by temporarily giving every person on the planet superpowers to fight the weapon, while Superman absorbed the energy at Mageddon's core. After the ordeal, Zauriel was one of several League members to part ways with the group. For years, he traveled the world, occasionally coming across other heroes during times of spiritual crisis to guide them. Eventually, Heaven charged Zauriel with destroying the hero known as Blue Devil, a member of the magic-based super team known as Shadow Pact. Instead of destroying him, however, Zauriel was offered by Blue Devil the opportunity to replace him on the team, an offer Zauriel and Heaven both accepted before the Pact's day gave Zauriel the Battle Spear of Michael, a more powerful weapon than Zauriel's flaming sword. In the New 52, Zauriel was revealed to be the guardian angel of Judas Iscariot, who was revealed to be the Phantom Stranger, another superhero in DC Comics.
What, really?
Zauriel aided the Team Justice League Dark against the villains Blight and Felix Faust, the latter of whom magically tore the wings off Zauriel's back. This proved fatal over time, though with the help of Phantom Stranger, Zauriel was resurrected by the Presence in a new female form to help guide and protect the Phantom Stranger once again.
So in the New 52, he is the Phantom Stranger's guardian angel.
Yes.
Interesting.
The version I'll be using in this match is Zauriel's classic pre-Flashpoint form. As an Angel of the Eagle host, Zauriel has enhanced senses and agility, as well as accelerated healing and the ability to emit from his voice a sonic flash, capable of not only atomizing other angels and disrupting metaphysical forms of beings like the Spectre, but it could also shatter steel and liquefy a person instantly, though it puts a lot of strain on him to use the ability. He wears heavenly armor that grants him increased durability and strength. He can lift about 15 tons, and his flaming sword can shoot fire and literally cut through anything, including the fabric of reality, allowing him to create portals to heaven. He's immortal, and anytime he has died, he's returned to heaven and then just come back to Earth. And that's Zauriel. So good luck killing him, because you can't.
I mean, you just need to kill him once to win the match, so it'll be fine.
But he'll come back.
It'll be easy. That backstory was kind of like City of Angels meets Legion.
I never saw Legion.
With Paul Bettany?
Yeah.
It was not bad. Archangel is way different. Let me go ahead and get into his backstory. Warren Worthington III was born in Long Island, New York, to an extremely wealthy family, his father the head of an international conglomerate called Worthington Industries. His well-to-do childhood experienced its first crisis when Warren began to grow feathered wings on his back. Horrified, he strapped them down with a special harness and kept them hidden under his clothes so that his parents, nor the other boys at his prep school, would notice that he was a mutant. One night, a fire broke out in his dormitory, and Warren had to leap out a window to avoid dying in the flames. It was then he realized that not only would his wings support him, but they allowed him to fly. He rescued several other boys from the fire and decided to start using his powers to fight crime as the superhero, the Avenging Angel.
Wait, he had wings and he didn't assume he could fly? If I grow wings, that's the first thing I'm assuming.
But he thought they were too small and weak. He had them strapped down for almost the entire time. He never tested them.
Interesting.
Because he was so ashamed by them. His vigilante adventures as the Avenging Angel caught the attention of Professor Charles Xavier, a mutant himself who was looking for mutants to take in, train, and instill his belief that humans and mutants can live in harmony. Warren became one of the founding members of Professor Xavier's team, the X-Men, alongside Cyclops, Jean Grey, Beast, and Iceman. Though he did display some arrogance and flippancy that stemmed from his privileged upbringing, Warren was a valuable team member who helped protect humanity from the likes of villains such as Magneto and the Brotherhood of Evil Mutants. He valued his abilities and heroism so much that even when the X-Men were ordered to disband by the FBI for a time, Warren still kept fighting crime. He was, however, unable to save his parents from being killed at the hands of his uncle Bert, who was trying to take over Worthington Industries. The original X-Men were captured by the sentient island of Krakoa and saved by a new generation of X-Men that included Storm, Wolverine, Colossus, and Nightcrawler. Warren decided to use this time to leave the team and start his college studies at UCLA.
Oh, in the City of Angels.
Right. His hiatus from crime fighting didn't last long, however, as a local threat banded him together with the heroes Ghost Rider, Black Widow, Hercules, and fellow X-member Iceman, and the group formed a new team called the Champions. Warren financially backed the team using some of his inherited family fortune, but the team didn't stay together long. He fought alongside the X-Men during the Dark Phoenix saga, when the team had to fight the Imperial Guard of the Shi'ar alien race over the fate of whom they assumed was Jean Grey, but was in actuality a cosmic entity known as the Phoenix Force that had taken on the identity of Jean. You can learn more about this in our Raven vs. Phoenix Duel episode. He then joined Beast and Iceman on the newly reformed Defenders team that also included Valkyrie and Gargoyle, though the group disbanded after their teammate Moondragon turned evil for a time. He and the other original X-Men established the group X-Factor when it was discovered that Jean Grey was still alive. It was during this time that a group of evil mutants called the Marauders, led by Mr. Sinister, attacked and massacred a community of outcast mutants called the Morlocks that lived in the sewer tunnels underneath New York City. Warren and X-Factor helped stop the slaughter, but not before Warren was savagely beaten to near death, and both his wings impaled, broken, and torn. His wings were amputated, and Warren was powerless, flightless, and confined to the ground. Depressed, it appeared he attempted suicide, but in reality he was kidnapped by the ancient evil mutant known as Apocalypse, whom you can learn more about in our Black Adam vs. Apocalypse duel. Apocalypse brainwashed and transformed Warren into Archangel, one of his 4 horsemen, Death. His skin turned blue and he was given biometallic, razor-sharp wings that could fire blades laced with a neurotoxin. Warren defeated and captured all of his former teammates, but was snapped back to his senses after believing that he had killed his best friend Iceman, although it was really just an ice statue. He teamed up with X-Factor to defeat Apocalypse and crash-land his celestial ship. But instead of rejoining the team, Warren left to overcome his brainwashing and control his deadly new powers. Eventually, he and the X-Men member Psylocke both received invitations to join the inner circle of the Hellfire Club, which is an elite societal group constantly seeking to clandestinely increase their economic and political power. The two declined membership, but began a romantic relationship, retiring to Warren's chalet in the Colorado Rocky Mountains. His metallic wings ended up molting, revealing his original feathered wings underneath. The two came out of retirement to help in the fight against Onslaught, an evil psychic manifestation of Magneto's hatred and Professor X's repressed negativity. Warren later learned that he had a second power that was manifesting more strongly than it ever had before, a healing factor, and it was the cause of his reversion to his more normal appearance as it was before Apocalypse's transformations. This power was discovered to be potentially linked to an ancient race of angelic mutants called the Sheraphim, who were believed to be biblical angels thousands of years ago.
That's right, so he does have ties to Angels of Heaven.
Right.
That's interesting.
We touched on them briefly in our Creeper vs. Nightcrawler episode. Warren played a major role in helping the X-Men resettle on the island of Utopia off the coast of San Francisco after he rescued the San Franciscan mayor. While serving on the X-Men's Black Ops Squad X-Force, his wings were ripped off and studied by a group led by William Stryker called the Purifiers, who were looking for elements of Apocalypse's technology. Warren sprouted back his metal wings and learned that Apocalypse's tech had always resided inside him, called the Death Seed, and that he could transform between himself and his more powerful, more violent Archangel persona at will.
Whoa.
Psylocke helped Warren control his transformations, and the team helped stop the resurrection of Apocalypse, killing him for good. Apocalypse, however, had a failsafe for this, and the Death Seed in Warren started manipulating him and transforming him into the new Apocalypse.
Whoa.
Psylocke was able to save him using other celestial tech called a Life Seed. The Life Seed cured Warren but erased all of his memories, making him believe that he was a real angel, and briefly gave him resurrection powers. But the Life Seed eventually burned out and Warren went back to normal. Briefly. He had to merge with an Archangel clone in order to stop it, and took back the appearance, powers, and rage of the Horseman of Death. However, Professor X was able to use his telepathic powers to subdue the Archangel persona and give Warren full control over his own mind, finally overriding Apocalypse's curse. He currently lives on the sentient island of Krakoa with the X-Men, establishing it as a sovereign mutant nation. And that's his history. Powers-wise, Archangel's primary ability is to fly through the use of his metallic wings. These large wings are highly flexible and allow him to fly at supersonic speeds. You can fire the feathers out from his wings, which are sharp enough to cleave stone, and are laced with a neurotoxin that causes paralysis. His wings are durable, strong, and versatile enough to be used in hand-to-hand combat. Warren is a formidable fighter and likely the best in Marvel at aerial combat. He also possesses a healing factor, though not as powerful or fast as Wolverine or Deadpool's.
I remember when you were younger, I had a Colossus action figure, and you had an Archangel action figure that fired a missile out of its back.
Yeah.
Didn't one of us have a Cyclops? I forget.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I always thought it was strange that he was able to fire his feathers.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
It is. I always loved how, like, in artistic depictions of him, too, they just make his wings so massive.
Yeah, they're just ridiculously
These things are, like,
big.
the size of a football field.
Yeah, I think each wing is like 16 feet long, so they are ridiculously big. He can like fold them in front of himself to use as like a shield. It's pretty damn cool the way he uses them. I think it's the versatility that surprises me the most, and that he can use them in hand-to-hand combat despite their massive size, because they're so compactable that those giant wings can still fold down and hide beneath his regular clothes.
It's like origami.
Right, exactly. Archangel is also strong. His wings give him like 200 pounds of extra lifting force.
What?
So it's enhanced. And he's already at peak human physicality due to the nature of his mutation. So let's go ahead and get into our speculation. So now that we've gone over the histories and abilities of the characters, Jonathan and I will improvise a scenario detailing how we think a match between the two will actually play out. We don't set any rules for our speculation, save for the fact that each character does not know anything about each other, other than that they need to put the other one down. And they start off about 50 yards apart from each other on a neutral battlefield that plays no factor on the match.
Right, because we don't take stats for the environment. Some characters have advantages in certain environments over others, but that won't be a factor here. The characters will win on their own stats, on their own merits.
Right, we just assume that this battlefield has a ground and it has a sky for these two to fly in. And that's about it. So let's go ahead and get started. Zauriel versus Archangel. Who goes first?
I will say that Zauriel starts off just by observing Archangel. You know, he's sort of studying all the intricacy of his metallic wings and his form. He's like, this looks like a being of death.
He's the angel of death.
Yeah.
So Archangel is going to start the match off by flying straight up into the air, kind of hovering, and launching a hail of sharp poison feathers in Zauriel's direction.
Well, luckily, Zauriel is acrobatic. He's really agile, so he just flies straight towards Archangel, and any blades that come his way, he just knocks aside with his flaming sword. By the time he reaches Archangel with his sword, he just slashes him.
So Archangel expertly sidesteps the sword swing, although it's in the air, with maximum efficiency as possible, and he spins around midair as Zauriel's close to him, warding him off like a saw blade. And he knocks Zauriel's sword out of his hand down to the ground.
Okay, you know it's not like a physical sword, right? It's a sword made of flame.
He hit the hilt.
Zauriel could conjure the sword at will.
What are you talking about?
You can't knock it out of his hand. I think you mean he hits like his wrist and like the sword extinguishes.
Yeah, that's what I meant to say.
Okay.
Yeah, he hits his wrist.
All right.
And slashes his wrist in the process.
Too bad Zauriel has gauntlets covering his wrists.
Whatever.
All right, but right when Zauriel's flaming sword gets extinguished, he just fires up a new one. And then just like flamethrowers Archangel with the fire from his sword.
So in midair, Archangel throws his wings up in front of him and uses them as a shield, and like maybe some of like the techno-organic metal starts like melting from Zauriel's attack. But Archangel flares his wings wide open and kind of like blows the fire away with the gust that creates. And also extinguishes any feathers that might be on fire. And the gust is so great that it even pushes Zauriel back just a little bit, which gives Archangel the space he needs to do this like aerial loop-de-loop where he builds up enough speed to slam into Zauriel at a hypersonic velocity.
Okay, but I mean, he has to accelerate up to that, and Zauriel is fast as well. So by the time he's coming out of the loop-de-loop that he's doing, Zauriel's no longer there. He's already following Archangel on his, midair flight path and just like hurling fireballs at him.
So it's a dogfight now.
Exactly.
Well, Archangel is like corkscrewing and dipping and diving out of the way of these fireballs midair. And at one point, Archangel just hits the brakes and 180s really quick and points the tips of his wings straight at Zauriel, who's oncoming right into them. And Zauriel gets impaled on Archangel's wingtips.
Ooh, okay. I mean, but like Zauriel has enhanced senses, right? So he sees this coming at the last second and he shifts to the side slightly. So like maybe his like arm gets slightly impaled, but not like his chest.
Okay.
All right. So now like his arm is impaled on one of Archangel's wings. So Zauriel's just gonna cut that part of the wing off.
With his sword?
Yeah. He's gonna cut right through it. And that's just gonna cause Archangel to like spiral back down to the ground.
Will it cut through the wing that quickly, you think?
I think it will. I mean, it cuts through anything, especially, I mean, if it's just the wingtip, then yeah.
It'll be quicker. Okay, all right, so Archangel has one of his wingtips cut off, so he's like spiraling down toward the ground, as you said.
And that's when Zauriel just dive bombs him. Just like slams him right into the ground at full force. Boom.
Except as they were falling down towards the ground, Archangel's wings are versatile enough for him to almost kind of use them as like hands. So he kind of wraps his wings around Zauriel, barrel rolls himself so that Zauriel is at the bottom of this dive bomb, and Zauriel is the one that gets the impact of the fall to the ground.
Okay, but Zauriel's like, he's wearing heavenly armor that makes him a lot more durable. I think he's gonna withstand this impact a little bit better than Archangel does. So they both crash to the ground, boom. I'm assuming Archangel is like
on top
of Zauriel, right?
Yeah.
So that's when Zauriel just lets loose, like point blank, a sonic flash.
All right, but Zauriel has to take a breath to let loose this shout, right? so Archangel quickly braces himself by throwing up his wings as a shield again. He probably gets a big brunt of the impact and gets thrown backwards. Probably even some of his like internal organs are pretty heavily damaged, but he's healing from that. He has his healing factor, and it'll work quickly enough in this case.
Will it?
But he'll be stunned. He'll be on the ground recouping from this attack. But Zauriel gets up. He still has full flight capability. He flies over to Archangel, who's on the ground. Archangel's lashing out. He might be a little bit scared at this point. He spreads open his wings and hurls another barrage of these poison wing blades that probably bounce off of a lot of Zauriel's armor, but they hit his wings.
Oh, shit.
And what's not perforated, the blades are sticking into, and they're just kind of like paralyzing Zauriel's wings.
Well, I don't think the toxin would affect Zauriel, but he definitely has to like pull these things out one by one.
Yeah, it was kind of like a porcupine attack. So he has all these like quills in him. And with Zauriel stunned from that attack, Archangel stands up and just uses both of his wings to just chop off Zauriel's wings.
The heck?
Yeah.
Dang, that sucks. That's like been proven fatal to Zauriel before.
Getting his wings chopped off?
Yeah. I mean, it takes months, but the pain of getting his wings cut off definitely makes Zauriel scream again, do another sonic flash. It probably wouldn't be as powerful because he just got done doing one, but it's enough to stun Archangel for sure.
Okay.
And that will give Zauriel enough time to conjure a flaming sword and cut off Archangel's wings. So now they're both wingless. Is that what you wanted?
No. All right, so they're both in pain. They're both wingless. So now it comes down to fisticuffs, I guess. They both stumble up. They're both weary, but Zauriel has his flaming sword. Archangel probably grabs his large feather blade from the ground, and it's gonna turn to a fencing match.
And then Zauriel's sword cuts right through the feather.
And Mora's like, shit! But then, in a surprise sneak attack, he hurls a few smaller feathers at Zauriel like daggers.
Even if those daggers hit Zauriel, you're just delaying the inevitable. Zauriel is going to kill Archangel with his sword.
No, because the daggers landed in his face and killed him instantly.
I mean, that's kind of improbable considering the size of Zauriel's helmet. Have you seen the size of that thing? It's huge.
It was just a really good dagger throw.
Doubtful. I say they don't hit him, and he just slashes Archangel in half with his sword.
Agree to disagree, good sir. Let's go ahead and take this to the stats, run the simulations, and find out which of these characters actually came out on top.
Agreed.
Alright, did Archangel put up as much of a match as he thought he was going to?
I mean, he's definitely more than just, the guy with wings than I thought he was. I was I've always never really liked the character of Archangel. It's yeah, he could fly, big deal. Superman can do that.
Right? But he's such a badass with those wings, man. I really like his look, too. His character design is pretty spot on, especially when he's Archangel. I think sometimes he gets drawn a little bit dopey when he's just Angel with the feathered wings and everything like that. But I really like Archangel's design.
I think both of these characters have really cool designs. If I were to design a superhero suit, it would look like one of these two.
Yeah.
For myself, I mean.
All right, so in comparing the character stats, they were close on quite a number of different criteria, including speed. They were comparable in how much damage they could do against their enemy.
Surprisingly, I thought Zauriel would be one up on damage, but yeah, they're pretty equal.
Yeah, but otherwise, Zauriel's a little bit stronger, a little bit of a better fighter, allegedly, which I'm still iffy about. But we said that Archangel has a greater range, especially with the wide radius area that he can affect at any given moment. We said that Zauriel's more durable, having taken hits from the likes of Etrigan, the Demon, and the Spectre, and whatnot. But we said that Archangel was more evasive, probably because he is less durable. But, he's fairly durable in his own right, having a regenerative healing factor as well as those wing shields.
We also said that Zauriel was smarter. It helps having been around since the beginning of time.
Yeah.
Although we didn't think it would play too much of a factor in this battle since Archangel is from another universe.
Right. So we took all these stats, we plugged them into the machine, we ran 1,000 simulated battles, and we have a percentage of wins for each character. Now, before you give us the winner, going over the polls from social media, 67% of Twitter users think that Archangel will be the winner, and 79% of Instagram users think that Archangel is going to come out on top.
Holy cow!
So I'm feeling good about this.
All right, well, I have the results here, and it looks like you and our social media followers are both dead wrong.
Fuck you! Don't say that to us. We say you're wrong.
Zauriel wins. He beats Archangel 64.2% of the time. So he won 642 of the 1,000 matches. Meaning Archangel won 358 of the matches. How does that make you feel?
Not great.
Good. Are you surprised?
Honestly, I don't know, because I didn't know too much about Zauriel. So I'm not surprised either way. If you would have told me that Archangel stomped, I would have been like, yeah, of course. But, you saying that Zauriel wins, I'm like, okay, DC is a bunch of cheaters, so obviously.
I didn't see this going any other way, at any point. Honestly. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with these results. And sorry to all of our social media followers who were wrong again. You guys always go for Marvel. You guys have to learn. DC.
Well, they were right. They were right about our last Duel episode, so
that's true.
But that does it for this Duel episode, guys. Go ahead and let us know what you thought about it by reaching out to us on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram. Just do a search for Dynamic Duel and you'll find us there. Or you can write in via email at dynamicduelpodcast@gmail.com. And if you visit our website, you'll find a link to our merchandise store, which, big heads up, there's a Black Friday sale going on this week and a Cyber Monday sale going on next week. So if you wanted to get a shirt, now is the time to do it. Yeah, we have almost every single Marvel and DC character up for sale on the shop. Just go ahead and look through what we have available.
And we don't only sell t-shirts, we sell phone cases and stickers and pins and pillows. All the things.
Who are you drawing for this episode?
Archangel.
Sweet. Oh, that's going to be awesome.
I always like drawing wings, but they're actually really, really hard to draw. So this will be a challenge. It'll be fun.
Don't forget, guys, go on to social media and post a link to your favorite episode of this podcast. Tag us in the post, and you'll get your name in a drawing that we're going to pull from on Thanksgiving Day to find out who the winner is of the 90s Marvel vs. DC comic book run.
Yeah, definitely stay tuned to our social media accounts on Thanksgiving, when you should be with your family. Our next episode is going to be a throwback review of Batman Returns.
Right, because that was the most Christmassy of all the superhero movies that we could think of.
I'm surprised this is going to be our fourth Christmas and we haven't reviewed this film for the holidays yet.
Yeah, it's like a classic.
I mean, personally, it's my favorite Christmas movie. It gets me right in the holiday spirit.
Mine's Iron Man 3.
Is that a Christmas movie?
Yeah.
I actually haven't seen that film yet.
No? Shazam is a Christmas movie, too. But we've already reviewed it, so.
Yeah.
Look forward to that next week, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the show if you haven't already. Share us if you have. And please rate us and review us on Apple Podcasts or iTunes if you can. Very much appreciated. Big thanks to executive producers John Spees and Bodo Winter for helping us out with the content of the show. And that'll do it.
Up and away.
True believers. Yeah, you guys definitely want to get a sticker of the Punisher artwork that Jonathan drew for last week's episode and just slap that bad boy right on your mom's face. I don't know what the fuck. And just slap that bad boy right on, your local elementary school. No. And just slap that bad boy right on, your forehead or whatever. Where would you slap a Punisher sticker that's appropriate? And just slap that bad boy, on your local public restroom mirror or something.
There you go. There you go. Batman should be played by me, Johnny DC. Because who better to play a millionaire posing as a playboy who moonlights as a superhero?
Who moonlights?
Fuck. Because who better to play a millionaire posing as a playboy who moonlights as a
moonlights?
Fuck you. Because who better to play a millionaire posing as a playboy? What did I do? What?
Every single word you're saying is wrong.
There you go.